Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anisha and thank you so much for joining me here today. Today I'm setting up my January pages in my bullet journal, the first monthly setup of the year, and I'm really excited about it, so let's get into it. Let's start with the supplies. So this PET tape here is going to be the main element today. This is from the same set of floral tapes I use for my bullet journal setup. And I'm going to pair it with this washi tape. This one has an old newspaper kind of print. Then finally, I have my Ohuhu markers and Sakura Pigma Micron fine liners. That's all for the supplies. Now let's start with the cover page. I'm going with a full spread cover for January. I don't know whether I'll do this for every month, most probably not. But since this is the first month, I just feel like doing it. And also, I think for the supplies I have chosen, this layout works better. So as you can see, I'm creating a wide horizontal border across the spread using the PET tape. I'm planning to layer it with the washi tape. That's why I'm placing it a bit away from the edges. Also, this tape is a bit thicker than usual. That's why I'm cutting it in half and placing them separately on both sides rather than using one piece across the spine. This way, the center of the journal stays less bulky and saves the spine a little bit. Now, to layer it with the washi tape, I'm cutting down the washi tape into some thin strips. There is no way I can use this tape as it is on this setup without covering most of the page, as this tape is too wide for the setup. Now I'm just layering it with the PET tape. And I'm also tearing a little bit from the edges to give it a distressed tone look. I like to do this every time I layer two tapes together. This is only my second year of bullet journaling. Last year was more of a trial and error situation. I think now I have a better grasp at what works for me and what's not. So I have made some changes in the monthly layout. A lot of the spreads and sections from last year are still going to be there, but I have removed some and added some more. And by the time I'm doing this voiceover, January has already begun, and I think the new layout really works for me so far. So I have prepared all my headings in advance and printed them on sticker paper. So I will be using that throughout the setup. I'm keeping the setup relatively simple. The wide layered border already adds a lot of visual weight to the spread. So I'm not adding any other element around the page. On the left side, I'm including a quote. I don't do this every month, but I think starting a new year with a nice quote is a good idea. So the quote says, "One day you will look back and see that all along you were blooming." I found this online and it was accredited to Morgan Harper Nicholas. I don't know much about her. My Google search says she's a musician and songwriter, and as far as I know, not a problematic person. So anyway, I picked this quote because I like the message and it goes well with my overall floral theme. So that's all I'm doing with the cover page. Let's move on to the next spread. This is my calendar page. So I'm starting with a simple calendar here. Now, I don't know what exactly was going on in my head while I was doing this setup. I spaced out a few times and made a bunch of mistakes. Then I tried to fix it and made it worse. It was a mess to say the least. So here comes the first mistake with the calendar. It was supposed to have 5 days on the left side and 2 days on the right. I ended up drawing an extra third column on the right. I really don't know what was wrong with me. That column does not even have the proper width. So this is where I realized the mistake. So I decided to cover it up with a piece of paper. I save all the scraps from whenever I do dust tours or waterfall edges. So I have the same paper cuts with the same dot grid as the journal. Now I measured the space properly, but when it was time for sticking the paper, I placed it at the wrong spot. I realized it immediately after sticking it, but the double-side tape I used on the piece of paper was really strong, so when I tried to peel it off, I literally ripped off my page. I edited this portion to cut some footage, by the way, because I really sat there in that exact pose for 5 minutes straight. I almost gave up on the whole setup here, but then I decided to look at the bright side. At least the paper seems fine on the back side. So I decided to cover it up again with a bigger piece this time, since I had to cover all that ripped page. And finally, this time I did it properly. It still does look a bit odd, but this is the best I could do. Once I used the markers and pen over it, it is somewhat covered. And now doing this voiceover during the first week of January, I can tell you, once I started writing on the page as well, it doesn't stand out much. I mean, you can still see there is some sort of patchwork going on there, but it is not very obvious. So that's all about my first mistake of the setup. Now coming back to the layout, as I said, this is my calendar page. So I have a regular calendar here and then I have an extra box on the side. This is the same layout I am bringing back from last year. So the box is to write down anything important for the month. I don't write a lot inside the calendar, I just mark important days in the calendar and most of the writing goes to the box on the side. I tried this layout several times last year and it really works for me, so I'm keeping it the same this year as well. I'm using a pale grey marker to highlight alternate lines within the box. I'm also going to use two different markers, a red one and a brownish one, alternatively to highlight the days on the calendar. Now, that brownish marker I'm using is almost running out of ink. I only realized it after I started using it here. It's not very obvious in this page, but it becomes more and more obvious in the next pages. But since I already used it, I'm just trying to make it last throughout the setup. Now, another small mistake I made here is that I printed these letters for the days a bit bigger than I originally intended. I realized it only once I placed it on the page and saw that the box below looks really narrow compared to the letter, but I just decided to go with it anyway. I didn't feel like printing and cutting these again. I don't have any cutting machines, so I cut around these stickers manually and it's a very time-consuming task. Especially cutting around these individual letters is a tedious job and I just didn't feel like doing it all over again. I wasn't completely happy with this at first, but once I got used to it, it didn't bother me much, so I'm okay with it now. One small thing I'm adding to this page, different from my previous layout, is that I'm marking the week numbers as well. I'm just adding the numbers here on the side. Last year, I numbered my weeks continuously, like from week 1 to 54. But this year, I decided to do it only for the month, like I have week 1 to 5 here. Now in February, I won't be starting week 6, I'll just do week 1 to 4 there. I'm doing this because last year I realized after a certain point the week numbers didn't really make any sense to me. I actually got confused around the week numbers during the middle of the year, so I think this way is better for me. Here comes my next mistake. The camera stopped recording here and I didn't realize. So I lost some footage here. So as you can see, I'm again creating a border here, layering the PET and washi tape. But this time I made the washi tape much narrower to fit in. and I'm not using the PET tape across the spread like I did last time. I'm only adding it at the top left and bottom right corners. The structure of the calendar and the layout gives an extra space in these corners, which is perfect for additional decoration elements. So that's all for this one. Let's move on to the next spread. This one is for my monthly trackers. This is another layout where I made some changes. First of all, I'm splitting my habit tracker into two types of trackers. The first one is my regular habit tracker. I'm drawing mini calendars here for it. I have created 6 mini calendars and I think that's plenty for my habit trackers. Now at the bottom, you can see I have made another grid layout. That is for my second habit tracker and I'm planning to call it my routines tracker. Essentially, both of these are the same. I'm splitting it only based on the type of habits I'm planning to track here. On the mini calendar one, I'm tracking things I would like to do every day. For example, things like going on a walk every morning or reading every day. Now, on the routine tracker at the bottom, I'll be including things that are not meant to do every day of the week, more like 2 to 3 times a week. For example, I'll include some of my cleaning routines and skincare routines in here. There are certain cleaning tasks I would like to do once or twice a week, and some of my skincare products I use like 2 to 3 times a week. So I can track all those here. This is a more frequent version of the when did I last spread people do for the entire year. So on the mini calendar, I'll color in the boxes every day I did the task. So the goal there is to not break the chain and do it every day if possible. On the routine tracker at the bottom, I'll make cross marks on days I did the task. So I'll know when I last did it and I can make sure I'm repeating it every few days. Now, I also have an additional section in the spread. I have created a box on the left page and highlighted the alternate lines with my pale grey marker. This one I'm titling Musings. I used to have a sleep tracker there. I don't need it anymore. I considered doing a gratitude section or one word a day section here, but I don't think I'll be consistent with any of that. But musings, I think I can handle. To be honest, I'm not completely sure about this. I might change this in the future. This is just a leftover space I have that I have to make some use of. So I'm going with the musings for now. The functional part of the page is done. Now I'm going to add some of the PET tape and washi tape around the page to make it a bit pretty. I really like the look of this PET tape, but one problem I'm having with it is that this one is a continuous design. There is no individual designs in here that I can use for small spaces like this. So I am just cutting around some of these designs and clubbing them together to make it look like a small design piece. That's all for this spread. Let's go to the next one. This entire spread is a new introduction to my monthly setup compared to last year. On the left page, I will have my content planner. It is mainly for this YouTube channel. I try to upload one video per week. Sometimes I won't make it, but mostly I try to stick to that schedule. So I'm creating 5 different spaces for the 5 weeks of January where I can plan and track my videos for the week. I'm using alternate markers to highlight every week and pale grey marker on the planning space. I have also left one space blank at the bottom left corner for some decorations later. I'm also doing the alternate line highlights using my pale grey marker on the right page as well. This page is for my reflections. I used to have this in my last year's journal as well, but I only included it once every 3 to 4 months there. This year, I decided to include it regularly on my monthly setup. My reflections are mostly related to my goals, what's working for me, what's not, what needs to be changed, things like that. I have some very important goals this year, specifically related to my career and academics, so I hope having a monthly reflection will keep me on track of it. That's all for the monthly pages. Let's move on to the weekly pages now. First thing I'm doing here is creating a heading for the whole spread titled Week 1. I also made some changes in my weekly layout compared to last year. I'm keeping my original layout from last year with a simple running task list for the whole week and an additional note section. That system really works for me. I don't want to change it, but I am introducing a couple more sections to the layout. First one is my meal planner. I'm drawing these boxes for the meal planner here. And here is where I make my next mistake, and thankfully the last mistake of this setup. So I planned the layout so that the meal planner will be on the right page. Now, out of nowhere, I decided to continue these boxes onto the left page as well. I have no idea why I did that. The irony is that I was really running out of time and I was trying to complete the setup as fast as possible. But the more I tried to rush it, I made more mistakes and it eventually took me more time to complete the setup. But thankfully, as I mentioned, this was my last mistake and it was easily fixable. I did the same thing I did before, just stuck down a piece of paper to cover it up. Later, I will use my pale grey marker on top of it to highlight the alternate lines. But since I am only using some pale markers here, the patch up here is more visible than the previous page. But I can't do anything about it now, and this is only for a week, so it doesn't really bother me that much. Now, coming back to the layout, as I said, the table on the right page is for my meal planner. I have provided space to plan 3 meals every day for the whole week. I have seen people doing a meal planner for the entire month, but I think a weekly planner will fit me more because I restock my groceries on a weekly basis. So it'll be easier for me to plan my meals for the week with the grocery shopping. So speaking of groceries, the next section I am including additionally is a shopping list, which is essentially a grocery list for the meals. The other two sections are the ones I am continuing from the last year, a weekly task list to note down all the important tasks I need to take care during the week, and a small note section just in case I have any additional notes. I don't like planning every day of the week. That system feels very rigid to me, and there is a high chance I won't be able to keep up with it for a long time. But I would like to include some structure to the week. So, with this system, there is some structure to the week, but there is also some flexibility which works best for me. That's all for the setup. Let's do a final flip through. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out my channel for more journaling content. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.